Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The time factor cannot affect the span life of the devotees. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a little execution of devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is transmigration of the soul from one body to another. And only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process. It is stated in the Vedic literature, Harim vina naiva shritim taranti. Without the mercy of the Lord, one cannot stop the cycle of birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that only by understanding the transcendental nature of the Lord and his activities, his appearance and disappearance, can one stop the cycle of death and go back to him. The time factor is divided into many fractions of moments, hours, months, years, periods, seasons, etc. All the divisions in this verse are determined according to the astronomical calculations of Vedic literature. There are 6 seasons called ritus, and there is the period of 4 months called chaturmasya. 3 periods of 4 months complete 1 year. According to Vedic astronomical calculations, there are 13 months. The 13th month is called the Adi Masa or Mala Masa and is added every 3rd year. The time factor, however, cannot touch the lifespan of the devotees. In another verse, it is stated that when the sun rises and sets, it takes away the life of all living entities. But it cannot take away the life of those who are engaged in devotional service. Time is compared here to a big wheel which has 360 joints, 6 rims in the shape of seasons, and numberless leaves in the shape of moments. It rotates on the eternal existence, Brahman. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. You can close that. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Well, this is an explanation of time. And however, it's saying here that the time factor cannot affect the span of life of the devotees. And in Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a little execution of devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is transmigration of soul from one body to another. And only devotional service to the Lord can stop the process. It is stated in the Vedic literatures, Harim vina naiva shritim taranti. Without the mercy of the Lord, one cannot stop the cycle of birth and death. Well, this is very good information. There's no other way to stop the cycle of birth and death other than chanting Hare Krishna and following the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, and above all, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This Maha Mantra is the great mantra for attaining liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So the devotee is not harassed by the time factor. Why? Because he or she is using all their energy chanting and dancing and having prasadam and hearing lectures, giving lectures, and so forth. So They're not wasting their time. Time is the most precious thing we have. And wasting time is the biggest tragedy of anybody's life. And once a moment is passed, there's no way you can get it back. No matter how much money you have or how powerful you are or how many, disciples you have or whatever, the time factor is something that cannot be changed. However, the time factor does not disturb the activities of a devotee because devotees is using all their time in the service of Krishna. That's why it says here, the time factor cannot affect the span of life of the devotee. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a little execution of devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. What is the greatest danger? The greatest danger is transmigration of the soul from one body to another. And only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process. Well, when I first read this, I was really very, let's say, very much amazed by the statement. Why? Because how can you change the course of your destiny? Now, we don't know what our destiny is. In other words, we don't know what our karma is until it actually happens. Right? However, if someone becomes Krishna conscious, their karma can be eliminated or at least put on hold so that they can engage in devotional service. In other words, a person cannot engage in devotional service unless their karma is put on hold or eliminated. Then they can engage in devotional service. And then by regularly engaging in devotional service, little by little, your karma is eliminated and you're able to function more and more in Krishna consciousness. So there's this time factor which is controlling the activities of all living entities. However, it says here that it says, though its revolution, meaning the revolution of the time factor, the wheel of life, though its revolution cuts short the lifespan of the entire creation, this wheel of tremendous velocity cannot touch the lifespan of the devotees of the Lord. And then in the purport, it says, the time factor cannot affect the span of life of the devotees. Now, someone would say, oh, wait a minute. Are you saying that devotees never die? It is saying that the time factor cannot affect the span of life of the devotees, meaning one can be Krishna conscious from the moment one begins to be Krishna conscious to the moment that one leaves their body, they're not affected by the time factor. And the change of body also does not affect the devotee because the devotee knows that the soul is eternal. So how can the time factor affect the devotee when the devotee is eternal? Now, everybody is eternal. However, some people know it, some people don't know it. But in the case of the devotee is not affected by the time factor because if they leave this body, they know they will get another body, either another material body or a spiritual body. And they continue to exist in some kind of body And then the best body is a spiritual body because that will not go through all these changes, whereas the material body always goes through changes. But still, the devotee is not hindered in devotional service by these changes. Why? Because the devotee never stops chanting Hare Krishna. And therefore, the time factor does not really affect the devotee. And that's what it says here. The time factor cannot affect the span of life of the devotees. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a little execution of devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is transmigration of the soul from one body to another, and only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process. When I first read this, I was really very, very happy because it means that we have an eternal soul and can't be changed. This, see now, there are some spiritual, you know, uh, movements that say that it is possible that the soul can die. Once you look that up, uh, the Christians, they say that it's possible that the soul can die. Once you look that up, but in Krishna consciousness, we know that soul is eternal. It's not subject to time and old age, disease, and death. But in some religions, they say that it's possible that the soul can die, or it's possible that the soul can be put into hell forever. Now, these are false statements. Yes, what does it say?
The Bible says all souls die.
Really?
All souls die. This is like in the people also ask category. They asked, "Can the soul die according to the Bible?" And uh, and the answer is yes, the soul can die. Though the soul in the Bible is a whole person with consciousness and desires and emotions.
Now, see, that's a false statement, completely false. And because of these type of false statements, intelligent people uh, no longer want to be a Christian. They don't know what the alternative is usually, but they don't believe in Christianity because there's too many let's say mistaken principles, and that's one of them right there. That the soul can die.
Actually, there seems to be obviously there's so many denominations within Christianity, so there's variations. But
Question: uh, What does the Bible say about killing a soul? It says, "Do not be afraid of those who kill the body but cannot kill the soul. Rather be afraid of the one who can destroy both soul and body in hell."
Okay, but you cannot kill the soul. That's one of the first things we learn in Krishna consciousness. Uh, uh, that the soul is eternal. Now, because the soul is eternal, it's possible that you can eternally stay in the material world suffering. However, Krishna is very merciful. That's why he comes himself, or he sends a pure devotee to help people understand how they can free themselves from the cycle of birth and death. So uh, the idea that the soul can be killed is a false thing. Cannot be killed. Only the material body can die, but not the eternal soul of the person. And that's who we really are. We're not the body. It's a false thing. Also, It's always changing from birth to old age and death. So it takes time for people to understand these things. Most people think, oh, it's just this life. You're born, and then you grow up, and then you get married, you have kids, and then you get old, and you die, and it's inevitable. So we shouldn't worry about dying. We should concentrate more on using every minute for sense gratification, to be happy and so forth. So this type of but when you say no, the soul is eternal, it can never die. Some people say, oh, I don't want to die. I don't want to live forever. Why? Because they identify with the body. Now, as the body gets older, there's pain, there's sickness, and all these things. So they think, oh my God, if I live forever, I'll be suffering like this in this body. So they have no knowledge at all about what's going on. They're just living day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute in state of ignorance. And therefore, uh, some people look forward to death. And some people ask to be killed, right? So now it's legal, like in state of Oregon, you can ask to be killed legally. Look that up. And I don't know if they do that in Washington State. Definitely in the state of Oregon, it's legal to ask to be killed, and then you go to a doctor, and you get permission to be killed. Did you know that? Did you know that?
You had explained this before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Death with dignity.
Death with ignorance.
This Oregon's Death with Dignity Act of 1997 allows terminally ill adults to end their lives.
Everybody is terminally ill. That means that everyone's going to die anyway. Go ahead.
By voluntarily taking a lethal dose of medication prescribed by a physician.
How can it be medication? Medication is something that's supposed to help you, not kill you, right? Go ahead.
In its more detail, this act was the first of its kind in the United States and is intended to prevent unnecessary suffering and give dying adults more control over their death.
They're not in control of anything. And okay, now this point of dying with dignity, is that what it says?
Yeah.
Dying with dignity. What's dignified about dying? It's in other words, they don't want to suffer. Let's put it like this. So as soon as they get sick, and then doctor says, "Well, you're only going to live another, 2 years." Some people say, "Well, better I just kill myself now, because I might suffer during those 2 years." And they don't want to take any more pills and so forth. So you see, everything is based on the body. There's no understanding of the soul. And because of that, people will commit suicide, and it's suicide, and then they become ghosts. And now the problem has not gotten better, it's gotten much worse. You see, the whole idea is, why would a person want to die? Because they think death is the end of everything. And that is completely false. It's not the end of anything. Yeah, what is it?
As of June 12, 2024, 11 jurisdictions in the United States have death with dignity laws, also known as physician-assisted suicide or medical aid.
Physician.
That means that there's 11 states in the United States where you can have the death with dignity,
Even Washington is one of them.
and Washington is one of them. Yeah.
District of Columbia, Hawaii, Maine, Montana, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Vermont. Yeah.
It doesn't say Washington. Oh,
But
It is
Another-
as of 2008.
8.
Yeah.
So in Washington State, it got passed in 2008 and went into effect in 2009.
yay!
And they have a eligibility criteria for
A what?
how to be eligible for this option
Yeah.
in Washington State. They say be 18 years of age or older, be a Washington resident.
That means that even if you're healthy, you can ask to be killed legally.
But looks like it is for the ill. That's what it sounds. Next one
Yeah,
is,
they have to be terminally ill.
Oh, yeah?
it is heaven in. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying terminally ill.
Yeah. It says have an incurable or irreversible
Irreversible.
disease that will result in death within 6 months.
So they have to have a doctor prognosis that this is a terminally ill patient. Only then.
There was this crazy guy. He was an Armenian guy. His name was Dr. Kevorkian. Why don't you look him up? Dr. Kevorkian.
What's the word? K?
K, yeah. Kevorkian. Kevorkian.
Kevorkian. Okay.
Murad Jacob.
What?
I think his name is, it shows. It says,
Yeah, Dr. Zach Kevorkian,
Okay.
often referred to as Dr. Death.
Dr. Death. All right, let's read about him a little bit.
Was a pathological and euthanasia proponent who became infamous in the 1990s for his role in assisting terminally ill patients in ending their lives. Background: is a pathologist born 1928 till 2011. Euthanasia advocacy. He assisted suicide. He is claimed to have assisted in the deaths of over 130 terminally ill patients between 1990 and 1998. He developed 2 devices to assist patients. The Mercitron, which allows patients to self-administer a lethal dose of a medication, and Thanatron, which delivered the medication intravenously. Legal battles. First public case. Kerkovian's first public case of assisted suicide was Janet Adkins in 1990, a woman suffering from Alzheimer's disease.
Of what?
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's, yeah.
This brought significant media attention and legal scrutiny. Multiple trials. Kerkovian faced several legal challenges and was tried multiple times. He was acquitted in 3 trials and had 1 mistrial before being finally convicted in 1999. Conviction and imprisonment. In 1998, Kerkovian administered a lethal injection to Thomas Yu, a man suffering from ALS.
Hey, what? From what?
A disease called Lou Gehrig's disease.
Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah. And allowed the act to be broadcast on the television program 60 Minutes. This act led to his conviction for second-degree murder. He was sentenced to 10 to 25 years in prison, but was released on parole in 2007 after serving 8 years due to his declining health and stipulation that he would not assist in any more suicides. Impact and legacy. Kerkovian's actions sparked a national and international debate on euthanasia, assisted suicide, and the rights of the terminally ill patients. His work brought attention to the need for better palliative care and clearer legal frameworks regarding the end of life issues. Advocacy for change. While controversial, his advocacy contributed to the growing movement for physician assisted death laws in various states and countries. Ethical and medical considerations. Kerkovian faced significant criticism from various quarters, including medical professionals, ethicists, and religious groups who argued that his methods were unethical and dangerous. Despite the criticism, he also had considerable support from those who believed the right to die with dignity and those who were affected by terminal illnesses. Kerkovian authored
Kirkorian.
Kerkovian authored several books on the subject, including Prescription, Medicide, The Goodness of Planned Death.
Goodness of planned death. And see how they play with words, to make it sound as if it's something good.
There were also some documentaries and films. His life and work have been subject of numerous documentaries and films. And there is a HBO film, You Don't Know Jack.
Yeah, his name was Jack Kevorkian. Yeah.
Yeah, so he remains a controversial figure. His actions and resulting legal battles played a significant role in the ongoing discussions about euthanasia, the rights of terminally ill patients, and the ethical implications of assisted suicide.
He was a doctor. He was actually a doctor.
Yeah.
But he advocated for this assisted death. That's why they call him Dr. Death. Crazy guy. Anyway, so what's the rule now, or what's the law now? There are some states that don't allow it at all. And there are other states that allow assisted death. But you have to have a doctor's, you have to go to a doctor. He's going to certify that you're going to die anyway because you have some kind of terminal disease.
This happened to one of my neighbor's wife. She
Really?
was going through some cancer, and I heard that they have opted this option. They say pull the plug, so they pull the plug and she
died.
I was very shocked to hear. But
yeah. Well, they say die with dignity, meaning you're suffering. People are suffering too much, so put them out of their suffering, but more quickly than natural death. So somehow or other, people can always rationalize things with words. It doesn't mean it's right, but they can rationalize it with words and make it a law. So is Washington State a die with dignity state?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
starting in 2009.
Yeah. But you have to go to a doctor, and the doctor has to say that you're going to die anyway, but maybe in 9 months or 10 months or something.
Yeah, they have a stipulation of only 6 months.
Oh, 6 months.
Yeah.
You're going to die in 6 months.
Yeah, the prognosis is that the maximum have 6 months. That's only
when you can die earlier.
Yeah, to avoid that terminally
suffering.
terminal suffering.
Now, see, it is definitely suicide, and suicide is very, very bad thing because you become a ghost right away. Now, what's a ghost? A ghost is a person who commits suicide and then ends up finding out that you don't actually die. you become a ghost. In other words, all your desires for sense gratification are still there in your subtle mind, but you don't have a gross body to satisfy those desires. So your situation is worse by committing suicide. And why do they commit suicide? They think that, well, if I commit suicide, there's no more suffering, there's no more consciousness, etc. But it's the opposite. Now they're still conscious, they're still suffering, uh, but there's no way to get out of it because now they don't have a body, a physical body. They have this subtle body. But it didn't solve the problem of their hope is that death means you're no longer conscious, you're no longer existing. But that doesn't happen. So it puts them in a worse condition than before. Before was they were suffering, but they were alive and they could do something about the suffering.
If somebody dies accidentally, what would be their situation? Like young, not they didn't go to the old age, die, but through accidents or some snake biting or some other reasons.
So the situation is that they're going to get another body. Yeah. You see, the problem is killing yourself is sinful. Or help somebody, you ask someone to help to kill you, the whole thing is sinful, and therefore you suffer much more. It's better that you die naturally, and then you don't suffer as much after death. Let's put it like that. Their whole idea is once there's death, there's no more suffering.
Yeah.
But it's not true.
In the case where they go through this terminal death,
Yeah.
assisted death, let's say if their lifespan is 6 months more, are they ghosts only for the 6 months, or does it completely change because they did suicide as an act? So, does it prolong their being ghost for a lot longer or forever?
Well, okay. What your question is? If
Yeah,
yeah,
basically, the earlier understanding is that let's say your lifespan is 80 years,
yeah.
but you committed suicide at the age of 20, then the remaining 60 years, you're essentially a ghost. You have to still live through in the subtle body. You won't get the next body, but you will kind of, suffer because you don't have a body. So is that till 80 years? So that means like you're a ghost for like 60 years in this case.
I don't know. I don't want to say anything. I don't know.
But there is a factor, Maharaj. Doctor is saying 6 months. Who knows? It will become 1 year, 2 year, or 5 year.
Yeah.
It's just their prediction.
Yeah.
Prediction can be wrong as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And another factor is why they're getting sick because of something wrong as well, right? So there are so many factors. They might be living for 80, but they had a bad habits and they are sick now and dying early. So still 80 is 80.
Because it's premature.
So it could be multiple reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. The main point is the soul is eternal. So even if you kill yourself, you're still going to be conscious. As you can't stop existing. That their whole idea is that when you die, that's it. That's the end of everything. But it's not. That's and if they understand that it's not, then it's better just to make the best of a bad bargain, right? And if they think that, okay, well, look, I'm suffering right now, I'm taking pills and taking shots and everything, better I die. Well, they become a ghost. Now they're in a worse situation. Right? Now, I don't know how long you're going to exist as a ghost. I don't know. Maybe you can look that up. When you become a ghost, how long do you have to be a ghost before you can come back again as uh, you know, with a human body? I don't know anybody if anybody knows this.
But what I heard in past is like whatever the life the person got assigned for to live as a human, that part till that part they will be ghost.
Who told you that?
Just in the childhood we have heard from different people. I don't have any source, but that's what I.
Does it say anything? What? Yeah, this is like, this is because people are spiritually bankrupt. And because of that, they're willing to, do these things, assisted death, you know. And and why? Because they say, well, I'm suffering. I don't want to suffer. But there's a whole purpose about suffering. The whole purpose about suffering is that you purify yourself when you suffer. Because people suffer because of sinful activities. So if you accept the suffering, that means in your next life you won't have to suffer as much. But if you try to avoid suffering by killing yourself, then you suffer much, much more. And people don't understand that because they have this false idea that if I commit suicide, then that's it, everything is over, and I'm not going to suffer anymore.
So, just while the Vedas themselves do not specify the exact duration, the other texts like Garuda Purana and various smritis, like traditional scriptures, suggest that a soul may remain in a ghostly state until its originally destined lifespan, if it had committed suicide.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Karmic consequences. The soul remains in a ghostly state to experience the consequences of the action of the suicide. This duration can vary based on the individual's karma and the nature of their death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You see, you can't even commit suicide without, karma.
yeah. The soul remains restless and is unable to proceed to the next stage of the journey due to premature and unnatural end to its physical life.
Right. So you don't, it doesn't stop your suffering. It makes it worse. Why do they want to commit suicide? To stop their suffering. But actually, once they commit suicide, they're in a much worse situation. Yeah. It's very interesting. You see how without Krishna consciousness, people are making big, big mistakes, you know, and they get themselves into a worse situation, although they were thinking they'll be in a better situation. So it's very sad. It's very, very sad. Okay, so this purport, Canto 3, chapter 21, verse 18, it says, I'm going to read it again. The time factor cannot affect the span of life of the devotees. Well, that's a big statement. Let's see what else it says. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a little execution of devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is transmigration of soul from one body to another. And only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process. Well, when I first read that, I realized, okay, this is what I want. Because I realized I had bad karma. Because things were happening to me. and they were not, they were not good things. So then when I read this, I said, oh, wait a minute, I can stop all this, suffering if I become Krishna conscious. And it is stated that a little execution devotional service saves one from the greatest danger. The greatest danger is transmigration of the soul from one body to another. And only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process. Well, this is what should be taught to people who are thinking about committing suicide. Right? By committing suicide, you don't solve the problem of suffering. You just you suffer even more. But you no longer have a gross body, you have a subtle body, but you still have gross desires. So you're going to suffer even more because you can't do anything about satisfying these gross desires. And only devotional service to the Lord can stop this process of transmigration of the soul from one body to another. It is stated in the Vedic literatures, Harim Vina, Naiva Shritim Taranti. Without the mercy of the Lord, one cannot stop the cycle of birth and death. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that only by the understanding of the transcendental nature of the Lord and his activities, his appearance and disappearance, can one stop the cycle of death and go back to him, go back to Krishna. The time factor is divided into many fractions of moments, hours, months, years, periods, seasons, etc. All the divisions in this verse are determined according to the astronomical calculations of Vedic literature. There are 6 seasons called ritus, and there is a period of 4 months called chaturmasya. 3 periods of 4 months complete 1 year according to Vedic astronomical calculations. And there are 13 months. The 13th month is called Adi Masa or Mala Masa, and is added every 3rd year. The time factor, however, cannot touch the lifespan of the devotees. In other words, in another verse, it is stated that when the sun rises and sets, it takes away the life of all living entities. But it cannot take away the life of those who are engaged in devotional service. Time is compared here to a big wheel which has 360 joints, 6 rims in the shape of seasons, and numberless leaves in the shape of moments. It rotates on the eternal. Existence or Brahman. Okay, so what is all this all about? It's about people wanting to live forever, but because they're suffering, now they want to commit suicide to end their suffering. But it doesn't end anything. They get put into a worse situation, and now they're suffering even more than before then, when they had a gross body. Now they have a subtle body, but they have gross desires, and there's no way they can satisfy them. So they're in a worse situation, more suffering. And they're suffering in hellish conditions because they committed a great sin. Great sin is suicide. Look that up. Is committing in Vedic tradition, is suicide considered a sin? Yeah, because why is it a sin? Because the body belongs to Krishna. We don't really own our body. Our body belongs to Krishna. So there's a story, there's a history of a devotee of Krishna, a Krishna devotee, who wanted to commit suicide. And Lord Chaitanya said, you can't do this. And he said, why? He said, because your body belongs to me. And I have to do many things through your body. And therefore, it'd be sinful for you to kill yourself. Okay, go ahead. What is it?
In Hinduism, suicide is spiritually unacceptable. Generally,
Wait a minute, wait, go slowly. Read slowly.
in Hinduism, suicide is spiritually unacceptable. Generally, taking your own life is considered a violation of the code of ahimsa, non-violence, and therefore equally sinful as murdering another.
Good. Very good. Okay, let's see who was it that was wanted to commit suicide? One of Lord Chaitanya's devotees. I'll look that up. Yeah.
Chota Haridas?
Maybe. I'm not sure. I forget. He wanted to commit suicide, and Lord Chaitanya said, no, you can't do it because your body belongs to me. There's many things I want to do through your body, so you can't do this. On the other hand, there was one devotee who committed a real, bad sin. And
Sanatana Goswami himself.
yeah, he wanted to commit suicide. And then Lord Chaitanya said, no, you can't, because your body belongs to me. There are many things I have to do through your body, so you cannot commit suicide. On the other hand, there was a person who committed suicide, and Lord Chaitanya was happy that he did that. And then that person would, as a ghost, would come and chant for Lord Chaitanya, and he appreciated it. And you can look that one up also. A devotee committed suicide, and Lord Chaitanya was happy that he did it because he looked at a woman with lust, although he was a renunciate, and Lord Chaitanya knew that because he knows everything, right? And then he recommended that he should commit suicide. And he did, and Lord Chaitanya was satisfied. And this person used to come back.
That was the Chota Haridas.
That was Chotahari, yeah. And then he came back as a ghost, and he would chant for the Lord. Read his story a little bit.
So the devotee of Lord Chaitanya, who is known to have committed suicide and later appeared in ghostly form, chanting the holy names, is Chota Haridas.
Yeah, chanting the holy names. He's a good ghost.
The story of Chota Haridas background is Chota Haridas was a disciple of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and served him faithfully. He was known for his melodious singing and devotion. The incident that led to his tragic end involves an accusation of inappropriate behavior.
What was inappropriate behavior? He went to get something, prashadam or something,
Yeah.
and he went to see this lady. She was actually an old lady, but standing next to the lady was a young and beautiful girl, and he looked at her with lust. Now, you and me, we would not be able to know this, right? But because what he was sent to do was a service for Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya knew that he lustily, with lust, looked at this young girl, and because of that, he was, I think he told him to go and commit suicide. I should look that up. Shotahari does. Let's read his history. It's very interesting history.
Yeah, I told you about this is obviously chat GPT. So Chota Haridas was sent by devotees to ask Madhavi Devi an elderly and devout lady, for some rice for Mahaprabhu. Although his intentions were pure, Lord Chaitanya, who upheld very strict principles for his close associates, felt that Chota Haridas had compromised his renounced order by speaking privately with the woman.
See, standing next to the old lady was a young girl.
Mm.
And from what I have read before, he looked at her lustfully. And Lord Chaitanya, who's Krishna, is in the heart of everyone. So he knew this. And because of that, he wanted Jyotirharidas to commit suicide.
I think basically what Mahaprabhu did was Mahaprabhu banished Chota Haridas from his association.
Yeah.
And that was a severe punishment, as being deprived of Mahaprabhu's association was extremely painful for his followers. So unable to bear the separation, Chota Haridas, and feeling deep remorse, eventually took his own life by drowning in the Ganges.
Yeah, you know how they get around in the Ganges? You hire,
After that,
no. You hire these men that have a boat,
so
and you go out in the boat, and then they tie these heavy cinder blocks on your legs, and they throw you in the water, and then you sink and you die. You see, they have everything in India. You want to die, they have it also. They tie these cinder blocks on your legs, and they throw you off the boat, and you just sink and die.
This was existing way before.
Yeah. So after Chudahardas dies, he doesn't really die, but he no longer has a gross body. But in a subtle body, he was chanting Hare Krishna, and Lord Chaitanya was pleased. It's like they're not afraid of a ghost. And what kind of ghost is he? He's chanting Hare Krishna. So nobody else understood that Haridas committed an offense. But because Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he understood. And to teach a lesson to all the other devotees. So that's the whole root point of this pastime. All the devotees, when they found out what happened, they became very, very, let's say, frightened. And they didn't dare even look at a woman with lust. They didn't even go near that horrible type of thing to do when you're a devotee. I mean, you can see women, but when you actually look at them with lust, it's a very serious sin. Even though you don't do anything, but you're just looking at them with lust, it's a very serious sin. Seeing women is not sinful. You can't really avoid it, right? But when you look at them with lust, it's a very serious sin for a devotee. And even for the karmis, but it's more so for a devotee, and therefore there's going to be serious consequences. So what does it say there?
about what happened to
Shota Haridas. What was his problem?
So I think this is more of
He was asked to go get some prasadam from
from Madhavi Devi,
yeah.
and then apparently
So he goes, and the person he's the one who gets it from is an old lady, actually. But there was a young girl standing next to that old lady. And he didn't look at the old lady, he looked at the girl with lust. Now, nobody else could understand that. But Lord Chaitanya was in the heart of every living entity. He understood it. And therefore he rejected him. He said, don't come near me anymore. And then he committed suicide. but after committing suicide, he was still chanting for the pleasure of Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya was happy.
Yeah, he could hear it.
He could hear him. Nobody else could. Yes, but basically he had his ghost body. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah. So now there's good ghosts and bad ghosts. Haribol. Okay, so we got to be really careful what we're doing as devotees. The best thing is don't do anything wrong, because, and especially,
Apparently, I mean, at least I just want to share.
Yeah.
This is a chat GPT, so I cannot say this is authoritative. So, but it says that the main reason is that even though there is no mention of younger lady next to it, that may be right, but Mahaprabhu deemed it appropriate that a renounced person should not engage in a private conversation with the woman, regardless of her age or intention. So that was the standard. So I mean, at least according to this one, it is not like, again, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu might know what was in his heart. But
okay,
because-
so your homework is look up in the Srimad Bhagavatam exactly,
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
or Chaitanya Charitamrita, exactly what happened. That statement is not right.
Hmm.
Look up and see what exactly Chota Haridas did that was not acceptable. And we can't chop whatever. It's not always right.
Yeah, no, this is it takes from multiple places. So
Yeah,
yeah.
you have to go into the, what is the Bhagavatam with this, or Chaitanya
Chaitanya
Charitamrita? Yeah, you can look it up right now. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Paitya chat.
What? Okay,
Yes. The chastisement.
of Chota Haridas.
Mhm.
What's it say?
Yes, so let's see.
What's it say?
Okay, so the devotee named Chota Haridas used to sing for Lord Chaitanya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhagavan Acharya called him to his home and spoke as well. Please go to sister of Sikhi Mahiti.
Yeah.
In my name, ask her for mana of white rice and bring it here.
Yeah, because they knew that Ski Mahiti had some very good rice, and they wanted to cook that rice for Lord Chaitanya.
Yeah, and then Sikhi Mahiti's sister was named Madhavi Devi. She was an elderly lady who always performed austerities. She was very advanced in devotional service. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted her as having formerly been an associate of Srimati Radharani. In the entire world, 3.5 people were his intimate devotees. The three were Swarup Damodar Goswami, Ramananda Rai, and Sikhi Mahiti. And the half person was Sikhi Mahiti's sister. After begging the rice from her, Chota Haridas brought it to Bhagavan Acharya, who was very pleased to see its quality. In great affection, Bhagavan Acharya cooked varieties of vegetables and other preparations dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also obtained remnants of food from Lord Jagannatha and digestive aids such as ground ginger and also lime with salt. At noon, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to eat the offerings of Bhagavan Acharya, he first appreciated the fine rice and therefore questioned him. Where did you get such fine rice? Lord asked. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked who had begged the rice and brought it back, Bhagavan Acharya mentioned the name of Junior Haridas.
What?
Basically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked
Yeah, I
Bhagavan
understand
Acharya,
that. Yeah,
who begged this rice?
yeah.
Uh,
What was the answer?
praising the quality of the rice. And then Bhagavan Acharya mentioned the name of Junior Haridasa.
Right.
Then praising the quality of the rice, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu partook of the prasadam. Then, after returning to his residence, he gave the following order to Govinda, his personal assistant.
Yeah, tell them never to come and see me again.
From this day forward, do not allow Chota Haridasa to come here. When Junior Haridasa heard that he had been ordered not to approach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was very unhappy. No one could understand why he had been ordered not to come.
Then he commits suicide.
And Haridasa fasted continuously for 3 days. Then Swarup Damodar Goswami and other confidential devotees approached Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to inquire from him. What great offense has Junior Haridasa committed? Why has he been forbidden to come to your door? He's been now
Forbidden to come to you.
Why has he been forbidden to come to your door? He has been now fasting for 3 days. The Lord replied, I cannot tolerate seeing the face of a person who has accepted the renounced order of life, but still talks intimately with a woman.
Now, see, why did he do this? He did this to show how serious it is for a renounced person to look lustily, not committed, not actually have sex, but just to look lustily on a woman. And when that happened, and then Junior Haridas committed suicide, everyone got scared, and they're just, in other words, they were all frightened from that point on not to look at women with lust. So he did this to teach all the other devotees a lesson. Go ahead.
So far, it's not, maybe I'm not reading the purports, I'm just reading the translations of the verses. So here Lord replied, I cannot tolerate seeing the face of a person who has accepted the renounced order of life, but who still talks intimately with a woman. So strongly do the senses adhere to the objects of their enjoyment that indeed a wooden statue of a woman attracts the mind of even a great saintly person. One should not sit closely with one's mother, sister, or daughter, for the senses are so strong that they may attract advance even a person advanced in knowledge. There are many persons with little in their possession who accept the renounced order of life like monkeys. They go here and there, engaging in sense gratification, speaking intimately with women. After saying this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered his room. Seeing him in such an angry mood, all the devotees fell silent. The next day, all the devotees together approached lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to submit an appeal on behalf of Junior Haridas.
So Lord Chaitanya tells her, look, I'm leaving. You can forgive Junior Haridas all you want, but if you do that, I'm leaving.
So they all made a plea saying that Haridas committed only a small offense. Therefore, Lord, please be merciful to him. Now he has received sufficient lesson. In the future, he will not commit such an offense. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my mind is not under my control. It does not like to see anyone in the renounced order who talks intimately with a woman. You should all tend to your respective engagements. Give up this useless talk. If you speak this way again, I shall go away and you will no longer see me here.
Yeah. He was adamant.
Hearing this, all the devotees covered their ears with their hands, got up, and went about their respective duties. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also left that place to perform his noon duties. No one could understand his pastimes. The next day, all devotees went to Sri Paramananda Puri and requested him to pass by the Lord. Paramananda Puri thereupon went alone to the residence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Lord, after offering his obeisances, seated him by his side with great respect. The Lord inquired, "What is your order? For what purpose have you come here?" Paramananda Puri then submitted his prayer that the Lord show favor to junior Haridas. Hearing this request, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, "My dear Lord, please hear me. It is better for you to stay here with all the Vaishnavas. Please give me permission to go to Alalananda. Alananda. I shall remain there alone. Only Govinda will go with me." After saying this, the Lord called for Govinda, offering obeisances to Paramanandapuri. He got up and began to leave. In great haste, Paramanandapuri Goshani went before him and with great humility persuaded him to sit down in his room. Paramanandapuri said, "My dear Lord Chaitanya, you are the independent personality of Godhead. You can do whatever you like. Who can say anything about you? All your activities are for the benefit of the people in general. We cannot understand them, for your intentions are deep and grave." After saying this, Paramanandapuri Goshani left for his home. Then all the devotees went to see Junior Haridasa. Swarup Damodar Goshani said, "Please hear us, Haridasa, for we all wish you well. Please believe this. At present, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is persisting in his mood of anger because he is the independent supreme personality of Godhead. At some time, however, he will surely be merciful, for at heart he is very kind. Lord is persisting, and if you also persist, his persistence will increase. It is better for you to bathe and take the shower. In due course, his anger will automatically subside. Having said this, Swarup Damodar Goswami induced Haridasa to bathe and take the shower. After thus reassuring him, he returned home. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to see Lord Jagannath in the temple, Haridasa would stay a long distance away and see him. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the ocean of mercy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the ocean of the mercy. Who can understand him? When he chastises his dear devotees, he certainly does so to re-establish the principles of religion or duty. After all the devotees saw this example, a mentality of fear grew among them. Therefore, they all stopped talking with women, even in dreams.
That's the whole point right there. And then Junior Haridas, he commits suicide.
Yeah. And then it continues for a year. For Junior Haridas, still there was no sign of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mercy at the Thus, at the end of one night, Junior Haridas, after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his respectful obeisances, departed from Prayaga without saying anything to anyone. That conclusively decided to attain shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Thus, he entered deep into the water of Triveni, confluence of Ganges and Yamuna and Prayaga, and in this way he gave up his life. Immediately after committing suicide in this way, he went in his spiritual body to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and received the mercy of the Lord. However, he still remained invisible. In the spiritual body, resembling that of a Gandharva,
He started singing.
although invisible, would sing at night for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to hear. No one but the Lord, whoever knew of this. One day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from the king, "Where is Haridasa? Now you may bring him here." From the devotee replied, "One night. At the end of the full year, Junior Haridasa got up and went away. No one knows where he has gone." While hearing the devotees lament, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was mildly smiling. Thus, all the devotees were very much astonished. Unde Jagadananda, Swarupa, Govinda, Kashishwara, Shankara, Damodara, Mukunda, all were together in the thing. They could hear Haridasa singing from a distance, as if calling them in his original voice. No one could see him, but they could hear him singing in sweet voice. Therefore, all the devotees headed by Govinda made a guess. Haridasa must have committed suicide by drinking poison, and because of this sinful act, he has now become a Brahmana ghost. We cannot see his material form, they said, but still we hear his sweet singing. Therefore, he must have become a ghost. Junior Haridasa chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra throughout the entire life and served Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Moreover, he is dear to the Lord and he has died in a holy place. Haridasa cannot be degraded, he must have attained liberation. This is a pastime of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's. You will all understand it later. A devotee returned to Navadvipa from Prayag and told everyone about the details of Junior Haridasa's suicide. He explained how Junior Haridasa had made his resolution and thus entered the waters at the confluence of Yamuna and Ganges. Hearing these details, Srivas Thakur and other devotees were very surprised. At the end of the year, Shivananda Sena came to Jagannath Puri as usual, accompanied by other devotees, and thus, in great happiness, he met with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Srivas Thakur inquired from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where is Junior Haridasa? Lord replied, a person sure to achieve the results of his fruitive activities. Then Srivas Thakur related the details of Haridasa's decision and his entering the waters at the confluence of Ganges and Yamuna. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard these details, he smiled in a pleased mood and said, if with sensual intentions one looks at women, this is the only process of atonement.
There you go. Just looking at a woman with lust is a very big sin. So why was Lord Chaitanya so, let's say, adamant? Because he wanted to teach the devotees how serious it is. And after that, they were all afraid to look at women. And they were very, very careful after that, not to commit that mistake. Yeah. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So Haridas had now, Haridas, Junior Haridas, not Haridas, but Junior Haridas. Now he has a ghost body, but he's chanting Hare Krishna. So even ghosts can chant Hare. Of course, nobody could understand that. Only Lord Chaitanya could hear him, and he appreciated it. Okay, well, that's enough about ghosts.